Hi, my name is Jared Moratis. You might know me as Beast Pop from Beast Pop Artworks on Facebook. I'm doing this video interview. I was asked to do it by Fright-Rags as part of the release of the Return of the Living Dead Send More Muppets design that I was privileged enough to work on. I'm very excited to be a small part of the Fright-Rags team of artists. I'm thankful to Ben and Christy for reaching out to me and giving me some ideas to conjure into being. It's been a blast working on them, and I hope there are many more in the future. Okay, my work process. I'm kind of slow, and I don't like to waste a lot of time with multiple thumbnail sketches if I can avoid it, so I sort of thumbnail in my head. In this case, Ben had come to me with an idea that originated with the always dynamic and friendly Christy Jet, and the idea was to go with a Muppets take on the Return of the Living Dead characters, which was similar to the Reanimator Muppet mashup design I did for Fright-Rags last year. The first step always is to collect reference before I start. Once I start drawing, I have everything right there to look at. I don't have to jump back and forth looking things up on the computer. I like to print it out and have it there on my desktop. The Bert and Ernie characters in the movie and their Muppet connection was obvious, and that was my jumping on point. Bert from the movie would be Bert from Sesame Street. Ernie from the movie would be Ernie from Sesame Street, obviously. I also played with the notion of making Muppet analogs for the other characters, and I didn't want to mix Muppet Show Muppets with Sesame Street Muppets if I could avoid it. But there didn't seem to me enough obvious other Muppet analogs to go with. I did a few sketch ideas where Tarman would be Oscar the Grouch, but it ended up not being enough Tarman, and it just didn't look right, so I trashed that. And I just thought, screw it, I'll just make Muppety versions of the Return of the Living Dead characters. So initially I did designs for all the punk characters in the movie. Starting off with Bert and Ernie was easy. I had to make them look like Bert and Ernie, but dressed in the clothes that the characters are wearing in the film. So I did designs for all the Muppety characters, including the zombie that was calling for Send More Cops on the radio, sort of a montage movie poster thing. But Ben decided that might be too crowded and scattershot, so I decided just to go with a group shot set in the cemetery. I showed that to Ben. He only had some minor changes he wanted to see, again, simplify some of the elements. So I go in, scan it in again, print it out larger this time, and slap it back on the light box, draw a very tight pencil drawing of it this time. This is the final drawing. Scan in this tight pencil drawing again to Photoshop, convert it to a blue line image, which I then print out on whatever medium I'm going to be inking on, usually Bristol board or vellum marker paper. And when I ink, I usually stick to watercolor brush and India ink, just because it gives me a nice variety of line weight, fluctuating line weights, and then I use pens for some of the cleanup detail work. I usually like to ink very big. As you can see, image is pretty big, much bigger than it would appear on the t-shirt. I just like, as a general rule, to be able to reduce the image down so that any mistakes or wiggly lines or just things like that are reduced and not visible. So I scan that in pieces in Photoshop on my scanner, and scan it in and proceed with the colors from there. Do any cleanup I need to do, and go on with the colors. My original color take on this ended up a bit too dark and monochromatic for Ben's liking, so he suggested a bit more punky and outrageous color scheme. So I amped up the colors and the highlights, and I rather like how it turned out. Thanks again to Ben and Christy at Fright-Rags for being friendly and great to work with, for giving me a chance to work on another awesome and fun design, and there will be more from me in the future with Fright-Rags. Thanks a lot.